If you could have one superpower, what would it be? My superpower is that I could eat as much as I want. So much that I will never throw up in the bathtub again. Wow, Waffles, you're super lame. You know this, don't you? What are you looking at? Oh, be gone. That easy, huh? This video is part 2 of the Audible trilogy, a book I've never read but have always wanted to read. That's right, folks. I am filming this when I should be packing for my 10-day honeymoon because we haven't packed anything yet. Woo! What is Audible? Why, sport. I thought you'd never ask. Audible is the leading provider of audiobooks with thousands of titles to choose from. Fiction, non-fiction, non-fiction, you name it, they have it. I love Audible because I love audiobooks. Easy as that. Audible is super duper and has a free audiobook just for you. All you have to do is type in audible.com/cashj, again, audible.com// can speak, cashj, for a 30-day trial and a free audiobook. Good deal, free stuff. Anyway, the book I chose is Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. Quick question. How many of you have read Brandon Sanderson? You're probably raising your hand because apparently the answer is everybody on earth but me. Shh. You hear that? It's the winds of change. So, everybody likes Brandon Sanderson. Everybody has read Brandon Sanderson. That is something I'm quickly learning. So I've done some research and I've realized people like Brandon Sanderson the way they like James Patterson. They've read everything he's written, but no, I'm not even like a fan. I've just read every single book he's, ever published. I find this odd because from what I've listened to in this, well, comparatively short audiobook, Brandon Sanderson is, fantastic. No way around it. Dude knows how to write. So this is my first Sanderson book. I actually got all the Mistborn series as a gift though, thanks Ben. And I'm actually really looking forward to reading those now that I've kind of had a taste of how Brandon Sanderson works. So I'm just gonna dive in. I'm not sure whether to be impressed or depressed about the fact that the story is probably the closest to what would actually happen if superpowers were a thing. I don't mean to be a massive downer on all of humanity, but we tend not to do so hot with power. And we do even worse with a lot of power. As the great Albert Einstein once said, no one man should have all that power. And this book is all about the historical and social effects about a power kind of beyond anything that we really know. Politics, beauty, youth, money, etc. This is about actual superpowers, but that doesn't matter. Power is power. We feel this story deeply because we've encountered this behavior actually quite a bit. The world Sanderson creates is a world where epics, or those with powers, are not heroes but villains. No one is protecting the weak but the weak, which is really sad, but a very raw and unique point of view on this kind of subject. I mean, if you take a look at all the movies Marvel and DC have been pumping out lately, we've got powerful people protecting the weak out of the kindness of their hearts, and because their backstories are tragic, but you know what I mean. And then you read Steelheart, and it's a little bit depressing, because you feel like it's a little more realistic. The story goes kind of like this. Epics rule these deteriorating and kind of pathetic cities, filled with normal people who are really just trying to survive till tomorrow. Enter a villain so terrible it hurts, Steelheart, whose power is invincibility, and David, our average everyday narrator, who has a score to settle with this invincible epic. David joins the Reckoners, a group of rebels, essentially against the epics, to expose Steelheart's weakness and get revenge. Now, let's take a look at the general plot. Average everyday hero getting in with rebels against some massive government power. I mean, this isn't unlike something we've ever seen before. Just now, Hunger Games, Legend, Battle Royale, and about 500,000 different titles came to mind, with similar plots. But as anyone who's read Sanderson knows, he has a remarkable, nearly unmatched talent for world building. And this is what transforms a plot we've heard before into a story we've never experienced. This is important PSA for all authors, one thing you need to look at when creating believable characters is the society in which they were born. And in order to do that, you need to spend a lot of time building that society. You need to focus on the details of that society. It's not enough to make a character wet and say it rained. Describe the storm. Authors who wish to create a unique and interesting story should really take the time to get to know the character's world. A colorful character in a gray world just fades. It doesn't do anything for the story. Sanderson knows this. He knows this well. See, New Chicago, the new, you guessed it, Chicago, isn't totally unlike anything we've ever seen before in this type of literature. But the social systems within it are well thought out and make a lot of depressing sense in this world of epics just overruling average people. On that note, the book is unique in that most superhero stories focus on good versus evil. This is less about good versus evil and more of a statement about power and how it fares in the hands of certain people. Now, there's more to this statement than just superheroes and not. Sanderson explores power struggles between close, even romantic relationships, in groups of friends, between allies, between gun dealers and clients, between the betrayer and the betrayed, between father and son. It's like a nesting doll. There are pieces within pieces within pieces. Sanderson observes that power can be used as either a powerful poison or an antidote, depending on not just who, but when, where, how, and why we use it. For instance, the power of revenge. Revenge is a huge theme in this book. Just about all the characters are hell-bent on some sort of satisfaction and retribution. Most of all David, who is absolutely determined to face an invincible man in the name of revenge. I believe Sanderson's message overall is this. Revenge is so powerful. It, in his own way, makes us epic. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because then what makes us different from Steelheart? David finds his equality with Steelheart by exposing his weaknesses. He does this through the desire to have revenge. He mirrors this power with epics themselves. This is what happens when men are under that sort of influence. This is how we make villains. The characters themselves were fantastic. It's like I said, if you pay attention to the setting and the world and society, you get good results. Maybe I'd say my one complaint is I'd like to get to know some of them a little bit better, but I believe this is just the first in a series that hasn't been completed yet, and given that Sanderson is really good at what he does, I'm going to go ahead and give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he's kind of doing everything for a reason. So I guess we'll see when I read the next book. I believe my biggest trouble was with some watery gaps between the plot at times. Every now and again, I felt as though we could have solidified the reasons why the plot was going where it was and explain better to the reader. I don't know, using dialogue or description or really anything. I don't know, it was like at some teeny tiny points we were expected to know what was going on as well as the characters. But we're not actually in the book, so that's not how that works. Maybe I'm just stupid. No, it's a possibility. I did one time try to open my refrigerator with my car key. Other than that, I was very satisfied and impressed with Brandon Sanderson's writing, and I can't wait to read more of him. Or I guess, listen to him. I listened to this one on the audiobook, but I've got Mistborn in paperback, and my husband really, really wants me to read Elantris, so I'm not sure if I'm going to read that in, just paperback or Kindle or whatever, or listen to it. The audiobook was great. It was read by McLeod Andrews. Andrews doesn't seem to have trouble like a lot of other audiobook readers do with the whole trying way too hard to sound like a young person thing. He seems to just focus more on an easy reading pace and clear reading, which is good, because this isn't a book where you want to miss something. Andrew is good for David's character, and he connected well with his personality and his story. So yeah, big fan of how the audiobook works out. I'll put a link below so you can take a look-see if you so wish. I could go deeper into this, I really could, but the trouble with Steelheart is, the big thing is the twist. There's a lot of questions leading to answers, leading to questions, leading to answers, and I don't really want to give anything away. So I'm gonna kind of back out here. I know Steelheart is fairly new, and I'd really, really like you to read it. Hey Cat, hey Waffles, I'll give you one more chance to say something not lame. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?